Hello. Welcome back. From what I can see, everyone's been here at least once, and many of you many times. So, welcome back. So, you know what we do here. Short talk with some guidance for shamatha, calm abiding, shine, and then we'll have a tea break, and then I hope you can stay for discussing how the Dharma is going for you, how you're going for the Dharma. So these days, because we have a significant number of people in India at the Mahamudra seminar, I like to call them to mind, bring them in here with us, join them there. From what Dora emails occasionally, they're doing very, very well. Although Punsok sprained her ankle, but she's okay. I guess the paths are quite bumpy, so she's all right, but not walking around as fast as she was. Also, it's good to call to mind the rest of our Sangha out the Columbia Gorge, who are still engaged in our 3-year retreat, which is a magnificent feat. And because of our deep interconnection with them, we're all getting a lot of that positive potential, because we're here in this center, which is supporting that. So, and that supports this. So let's remember our Sangha scattered wide and far. So in this moment here, we have this incredible, amazing opportunity. If we think of the humans in the world and how they struggle simply to live, simply to find water, food, shelter, clothing, meaningful lives, we really are almost in a kind of a God realm. For most of us sitting here, we easily get food, shelter, medicine. We have minds that can engage with the Dharma. We have interest in it. That's a very important component. People can have all these other elements to what's called a precious human life, but have no interest. Read the Dharma, say, that's nice, and go and live their good lives or horrible lives or whatever it is. But we have many, many what are called the 8 freedoms and 10 fortunes. Have to do with being free of extreme suffering and having all the 5 senses and connecting with the Dharma, connecting with teachers, having interest, having leisure. Leisure is a huge piece. Most people in the world, even they would want to do this, have no leisure time. They've got 3 jobs, 5 kids, and they just keep going. So we can be here for them, but we can also really, really be joyful about our circumstances and wish those for them, that someday they have that too. And yet, it is truth that every single thing is impermanent. this center, which is coming along beautifully, someday will be something else. Won't be a Buddhist center, or will be a crashed building or something. So it's always quite good when we start something to completely rejoice in it, and to also see it's already gone, it's going. That way we actually enjoy it more. This relationship with our little grandson or our best friend, so enjoyable, but changing every moment, already for sure going. Bokar Rinpoche used to say, people are like birds that come into a tree for a little while. You know, we see this daily, whole bunch of crows into the tree. Pretty soon they all disperse. That's how we are. It's natural. No problem. Except we make a problem because we cling. And we don't believe it should be that way or it is that way. But that's the natural impermanence. And then we cling to things that actually cause suffering. And we push away things that would possibly end our suffering. And sometimes we don't protect our ethics the way that we could, so that our lives calm down and we can really be of assistance to others by not harming anyone, not using harsh words, not gossiping, lying, not taking what's not freely given. Just the things that automatically lead to suffering. So that's a quick review of the 4 thoughts that turn the mind toward the Dharma. So let's do our recitation of refuge, because those kind of thoughts lead us to seeing, I need a harbor, I need a refuge, I need a place where I can land and trust it. And I test it and it doesn't fail. And that's the Dharma. That's the way of the Buddha. You test it, it doesn't fail. We fail to remember it, we fail to apply it, but if we follow it, it doesn't fail, because it's set up for liberation. So, can't fail. Something set up to liberate us from suffering cannot fail to liberate us from suffering. And it has liberated many, many, many beings. So that's the refuge. Then, of course, with the bodhicitta, the awakened mind prayer, we pray that we'll practice this calm abiding to release all others. So let's do this 3 times together.
Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness.
So compassion is defined as the wish to end suffering, first for others. And our suffering ends as kind of a natural side effect to that. It may not be even appropriate to say side effect, but a natural effect of that. Our suffering also ends from our efforts to focus on others. So this morning I shared this, something Lama Michael taught us during retreat one time. And I want to share it again because it seems to be a rich, something rich to contemplate. He said, the highest compassion we can have is to recognize the Buddha nature of all beings. It doesn't say go out and fix the world, end war, end poverty. Of course, it would be good as we make efforts towards those. But the activity is recognition. So this has to do with the view. The highest compassion we can have is to recognize the Buddha nature of all beings. So when we recognize the Buddha nature of all beings, the deepest goodness, let's say, one text calls it, Nagarjuna's text calls it definite goodness, the definite goodness of all beings. When we recognize that, everything we do would, if it's infused with that, end suffering. We wouldn't do anything that was within harming, because we recognize the Buddha nature of all beings, including self. Right? So what's that Buddha nature? Well, it's always said it's beyond words, beyond concepts. But then we put words and concepts on to kind of head toward it. So it's aware, spacious, luminous, unobstructed, unbounded. The 6 perfections are in fact perfected. Generosity, ethics, patience, joyous effort, concentration, and wisdom. They're not only completed, but they're seen as empty of any solidity. This is when we start going beyond. And this is the true nature we have and every sentient being has. So I don't know about you, but it doesn't feel like that or seem like that in my daily life. So we can move towards this recognition, towards experiencing this. And that is why we engage in calm abiding. It's simply one of the first steps toward this. We can't recognize anything if we don't slow down, right? It's just like speeding down a freeway and someone says, did you see that blade of wheatgrass back there a mile? No, it was the blur. So this is how we do. I have to calm our lives down, then we come to calm abiding. And calm abiding is all about developing concentration to the level of which we can place our mind on an object of our choice, and we can keep it there relaxed, gently, but persistent for as long as we want without wavering. No matter what comes and goes, we don't waver from the object. The comings and goings are just seen as comings and goings. We don't have to get caught up. We don't have to grab at them and entertain them. We don't have to push them away. They're like clouds going through the vast space. And we don't have to ruminate on each cloud or create a thunderstorm. We can just focus on the space, the clarity, the awareness within which the thoughts rise. So calm abiding helps us get to that. So let's begin, if you haven't already, and some of you have, because you're quite good at this. Simply relax the body. You can really feel like it's a firm foundation, a supple foundation for your practice. Let go of any tension. Then we relax our mind. There's no need to conjure anything to think about. There's no need to push any thoughts away. And we can relax our emotions, that is, reactions to thoughts. No problem with them. They come, they go. Unless we grab or push away, then they persist. So we can just let them follow their natural, impermanent path. So you can choose your object of attention. Most often it's the breath, either at the belly or the nostrils. But if you have another object, or you have the practice of meditation with no object, go ahead. But simply note when you've gone off that object and you're following a set of thoughts, and just let them go and come back to the object you've chosen. So we'll do this with a number of breaks, for the reason that Lama Michael is pointing out more and more that long, uninterrupted sessions are not so skillful for most of us, because we actually go off the object, we don't notice, and we get in kind of a dreamy state, which feels kind of good, but it's not developing concentration. So, be clear about your object. Come to it with some energy, some happiness at this opportunity, some determination to understand the nature of your mind in order to become more useful to end suffering in the world. And then just enjoy this time. bring your mind to the object of meditation. And then, if you need a stretch break, take a stretch break. Then reset your attention, intention, and begin again. Once again, place your mind on the object if it's off. Take a nice breath. We always want to end on a note of success. And then stretch if you need it. mind to the object gently, persistently. No judgment if it's been distracted. No judgment about that. Just notice. Bring the mind back. And then take the break.
By this virtue may I quickly realize Mahamudra and establish all beings without exception in this state.
Thank you. A couple of announcements. So please look at the KCC website. All the teachings for 2018 are up there. We're offering many different exciting things, some series of classes, and in the fall, retreat out at the 3-year land, which will have been well warmed up for us. And Lama Eric will be here from India to lead that. A short Chenresi and a longer calm abiding insight retreat. So if you want to go to a retreat in September, it's really good to start planning now. Block it off on your calendar, get the time off work, tell your family, gather the funds. It takes about that long to make it happen in one's life. That's what I've found. The next thing on that calendar that's happening is January 27th, Saturday. Our friend Julie Herlucker, who's a longtime student here, will be continuing a study of death and dying. She facilitates a very warm-hearted, open discussion kind of group with that. And since it's something we're all going to do, it might be good to find out more about what that process is, how to meet it with an open heart and clear mind. What else? Oh, yeah. We are going to have our annual Sangha meeting called a Wingding this time. I just think that's so funny. Saturday, February 10th, from noon to 3:30 right here. So there'll be a potluck lunch, I guess, to kick it off. Then short meditation and presentations from Lama Michael, the Program Council, Board of Directors, catching us all up on what's going on. There will be a fun slideshow about what it's been like to renovate this building, and volunteer thanking and more eating of yummy desserts. Anything else? Yeah.
And 2 weeks time, the 27th, Eugene is a Mahakala Empowerment and teaching Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, Mahakala Empowerment, KDK, I think it is down there in Eugene. What's there? Lama Songtsing, anyway. A Kagyu Center in Eugene, a Mahakala Empowerment. I think it went on to our community announcement, didn't it? So Lama Songtsing's wonderful. So I'm sorry I mixed KDK up with them. And then there's a need for volunteers, right? The downstairs is in full bore renovation now. And so this week there's need for volunteers to help clean and I don't know what all, help construct and help. You will, if you came and volunteered for an hour or half a day, a morning or something, you would be working with skilled beings who would direct you, and it would be very helpful. And if you are interested, see Linda Grove right there. Any other announcements? Okay, let's have tea. come back for Q&A. Come back with questions. Otherwise, what'll we talk about? Hi, Steve. Long time no see.
It's been a while. How are you? What?